Good morning, ladies and gents. So I'm back with another video, and this is going to be the most comprehensive and the most up-to-date glaive build guide video for you, because I keep getting asked, how do I build glaive, how do I keep putting out so much damage? This is going to cover every single aspect of the glaive, the skills, the runes, everything that you'd want to know about how to build a proper full-strength glass cannon glaive build. But let's get straight into it.
Victory or death! Give them hell!
So then, here we are in the game. Now, the glaive is one of those builds which can be used for quite a variety of different reasons. You can either buff your units, you can buff other heroes, or you can use it as a full-on glass damage build. Now, you also have the ability to actually wear heavy armor as well, so it actually gives you a little bit of tankability, a bit of survivability, a bit of tankiness. Allows you to kind of last a little bit longer in sustained melee. However, I am of the mindset, and everybody that I speak to and people that have seen my previous guide builds will know and understand that actually I am in the camp of I use medium armor set because I want to actually be pumping out more damage than a person in a heavy armor set actually being able to take that damage for a couple more seconds. The glaive is a burst damage weapon. It can be used as either a hero on hero weapon or a hero versus unit weapon, which means you can either use it to cause a huge amount of single target damage, or you can also use it to cause a massive amount of AoE damage depending on your skill build. Now, the way I kind of go is that single target damage, because I still have a few skills where I can actually do a lot of damage to a lot of units around me, but it actually gives me that increased damage against that hero in a 1v1 fight, and this is the way I find it actually works for me best. So this is how I build it, starting from the points available. Now, I've just reset these so you can actually see what I am doing. I put every single point available into strength. Now, you will have, if you're using 4 Carnifex gears, you will have the buff as well of actually increasing your strength, agility, toughness and armor by 10. However, what I'm currently running is 2 Blizzard armors, which you can actually pick up from the Thane, which is in any capital city. It's the season 7 kind of vendor. You need to build up favor with this guy. Once you get to a certain amount of favor, you can actually pick up the Blizzard set. I do highly suggest you run 2 Blizzard, 2 Carnifex for the most amount of damage possible. If you're only able to run 4 Carnifex, it's absolutely fine. It still works really well. If you can only actually run 4 Blizzard armor, still works absolutely fine. What I have found though is 2 Carnifex, 2 Blizzard just gives you that little bit extra damage. So all my points are in strength. I have extra agility because that is currently coming from my weapon. However, looking at the stats of this weapon, I am still trying to re-roll this for better, because actually I want to replace that agility with strength. If I can get a good roll like plus 15 strength to this weapon, that would be a amazing glaive. Absolutely amazing. You just want to go full strength with this. So the second attribute that you really want to try and roll a good glaive with is blunt damage. Blunt damage, blunt armor penetration. Don't worry about slashing. Blunt is where it is at, because actually the ultimate that I use and one of the skills I use, the 2 most damage dealing skills are blunt. They are not slashing. Slashing is for your normal attacks. Couple of skills use the slash as well, but they're not big damage dealing skills. The 2 big damage dealing skills use blunt as their attribute, so that is the damage that you really want to try and buff up by re-rolling your glaive set. Once you get a decent glaive, once you have put all your points into strength, then you can actually come over and have a look at the skills. Now the skills, I've seen a few people running different variations of these, and actually so far I have tried every single skill. I've tried every single skill multiple times, and the ones that I am running are the ones I feel are the best by far for glaive. The only one that I would say possibly, depending on actually if you want to go more unit killing rather than hero killing, is swapping out the God of Battles for the Arc of Steel, so you have that big spinning attack. However, that 15% extra damage that you can buff not only yourself but everybody around you is massive. This can turn the tide of battles in your favor pretty quickly. So that is my Q ability. Because I've gone for that 1v1 damage, I don't really need that big sweeping AoE attack, so that is where I kind of replace Arc Steel with the God of Battles skill. If and when I do decide to go, actually I want to kill more units, I literally just swap out those two skills. That's all I change with this build. My E skill is Breaker of Shields. This is your first of your big damage dealing blunt damage skills. This is huge. This really does do a lot of damage very, very quickly. Plus as well, you can actually follow it up with another attack which uses your base slashing damage. So your slashing damage is going to naturally be quite high with the glaive, but the main part of the attack of this uses blunt, which is why I was saying before, really focus on rolling your glaive to get more blunt damage than slashing. Breaker of Shields is massive. It does a lot of damage and it takes people by surprise. It's a really, really good skill. Warlord's Greeting. Warlord's Greeting is your stun ability. This manages to stun an enemy for a couple of seconds, which actually gives you the time to pop off your God of Battles if you haven't already, and then your ultimate. So actually it works really, really well if timed properly. You can also use this to actually pop this off and then go straight into your Breaker of Shields as well. That is another way of playing this, but this is a very useful skill. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage because it's not actually designed to make or do a lot of damage. It is designed to stun that enemy, so you've got time to lock them down so your units can surround him, or you can pop off the rest of your abilities to actually do that damage and get that kill. Very, very useful skill. Now the ultimate, Flying Reaper. Right now, Season 7, they have a Hail of Blades rune. The Hail of Blades, I can assure you, is a totally useless skill. Not only does it use slashing damage, it also is interruptible. The rune, the Season 7 rune, makes it uninterruptible, but still, you can still be attacked, you can still be hurt, and you can still be... If someone manages to run out of the way of you, you will totally miss them, which is a shame, because actually this, I think, would be an awesome skill to have if they changed a couple of bits with it. Unfortunately, at the minute, present stage, in current game, this skill is one to avoid. Flying Reaper is by far the best skill with this. It not only does a huge amount of blunt damage, this is the one where I've actually caused 26,000 damage against a light armor user. It also knocks people down to the ground, and it also allows enemies, or makes enemies that have been struck, take 10% more damage for 4 seconds, which is huge, especially coupled with your 15% extra damage bonus as well. Flying Reaper, honestly, I have one-shot people with this thing. It is insane. This is your main reason why you want to really focus on rolling a glaive with a lot of blunt damage though, because actually this uses that base blunt damage, it stacks it, plus it adds its own amount as well. It does do insane amounts of damage. If you guys have caught me on the stream, you will see literally how much damage this thing does when popped off at the right time, and coupled with God of Battles as well, which is going to be increasing its damage by another 15%, which is absolutely insane. So just a very quick rundown. You want your God of Battles, your Breaker of Shields, your Warlord's Greeting, and then your Flying Reaper. Those are your 4 skills for your Glass Cannon Strength Damage Glaive build. Best skills by far to use. The charge is okay, it's not great, doesn't do much for you unfortunately. The Heat of Battle, although it actually gets rid of any effects on you and actually immunizes you, it is a bit of a waste of a skill because it's not really doing much else unfortunately for you. I have definitely found these skills are by far the best to run for the glaive build. Now moving on to the runes. So the runes, again, for the glaive you want to be focusing on the blunt damage, blunt armor penetration, but also the critical value as well. If you can score more critical hits, that is going to be able to pump out even more damage for you. I have had a good look through all of the different runes and everything, and actually I've tried all of them. all of the big ones for the glaive, these are by far the best ones I have found, which actually really help you out massively. Again, like, I've tried this one, doesn't really do much, you don't really notice much difference. The Hail of Blades is unfortunately a useless skill in its current format, so even though this rune actually makes it uninterruptible, you can still get hurt, if not killed, while you're actually using it, because you're very vulnerable when you're actually going through the animation. All the rest of them are pretty standard, pretty basic. I just go with the blunt and the critical value ones. Going down to your armor, so again you want blunt damage, critical value, blunt armor penetration on the helmet, and then going down to the chest piece. What I have found is actually replacing one of these, which is the blunt armor penetration, with the increased damage dealt by 5%. It kind of balances it out, and actually that 5% extra damage all the time is quite useful. But the main bit with this one is after death, nearby allies will deal 15% more damage for 20 seconds. So once you die and you are surrounded by your friendly units, heroes or units, they will get a 15% more damage buff for 20 seconds, which is huge. Now, if you can get into the habit of just before you die as well, you pop off your God of Battles and get that skill going. So this one here, which actually increases your damage by 15% and everyone around you, if you can manage to pop that off just before you die, everybody around you will get 30% extra damage for a set amount of time, which is insane. 30% extra damage is an insane amount of damage to increase, so that really does turn the tide of battles into your favor quite quickly. So I've gone over what kind of build you want with the glaive, I've gone over all your stats, I've gone over the skills, and I've gone over all the runes as well. Glaive is a big burst damage, heavy hitting weapon. Play it as such. Just because you can play heavy armor doesn't mean you should be playing heavy armor. I've had this chat with a few people now. So even though it does give you another 3 or 4 seconds survivability and sustained melee, which is how much it does, I've tested this out on quite a few different maps and quite a few different scenarios, and honestly, if you are playing the Glass Cannon damage glaive build properly, you will survive just as long as you would in heavy armor. So get used to actually getting into a fight, hitting off all your skills, popping off all your skills, doing as much damage as you can, whacking stuff, using your shift attack as well. So when you're running and you're holding shift, you actually do a flying jump as well to kind of do even more damage. Another thing with glaive as well is I personally think they are the best hero class for damage on a horse. So spear will have their charge attack, but you've got to build up a certain amount of speed to begin with. Glaive, you can literally stood still, spin round, do 2 big AoE attacks. Not only do you have the E skill, which will do a big circular attack, you also have the right click, which will do a pretty decent sized arc right in front of you in terms of damage as well. Couple that with actually then jumping off your horse, popping off all your skills in quite a quick succession, and then drawing yourself out of the fight. You will be pumping out massive amounts of damage very, very quickly. One big negative with this build though, because it is Glass Cannon, if you get stuck, if you end up in sustained melee for any amount of time after your skills have been used as well, because this class, the Glass Cannon kind of build really is reliant on the skills. Once your skills are on cooldown and you're waiting for them to come off cooldown, there's not a huge amount that you can actually do. You can still do your shift attack, you can still do your normal attacks, but actually the damage output is not great, and because you're in that medium armor, you do have a little less survivability. So get into the habit of getting into a fight, popping off all your skills, doing as much damage as you can, withdrawing then out of that fight, waiting somewhere safe, ordering your units about, kind of do whatever you need to do, heal yourself up if you have to, and then get back in once all your skills are off cooldown again. Most of the skills, apart from the ultimate, don't take long to cool down. The ultimate is a minute, I think it is, so it does take a little while for it to cool down, but actually when you're in battle, that minute does go very, very quickly. Just be very aware of when your skills are and aren't on cooldown, because it has caught me out before, running into battle thinking I've got all my skills available, and it turns out I've only got 2 of the 4 available, and I kind of get overwhelmed and dead. Make sure you don't do that. That's the only negative with this Glass Cannon build. So I'm going to leave this video there. I hope this video has helped you. This, like I said, is the most comprehensive and up-to-date Glass Cannon Glaive build, which is out there currently in the Conquerors Blade world, which has proven itself many times over of actually just how insane this class and this build is. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you play Glaive differently? Do you believe that actually you should be in heavy armor and you should be in sustained melee? I'm not even going to go down that route. But thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope this has cleared up and actually made you very aware of just how good the Glass Cannon damage build for Glaive is, and definitely go and give it a go. With that weekly reset on the points now, is you can go give it a go for a week and then just reset your points if you don't like it, because actually you don't lose anything anyway. But thank you very much for watching, folks. If this has helped you, hit that like button, share it around, send it to everyone you think will be interested, hit that sub button if you haven't already, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.